Hi, I'm Stacy, and today I'm doing my April wrap-up March TBR. Finally. A little late, but whatever. April was an okay month, I would say. Some meh books. It was a weird month, and I think that's why I haven't been really posting, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing in May. I'm also going to talk a little bit at the end about what I kind of want to do with videos moving forward. Take that with a grain of salt because I always change my mind, so who knows. Sometimes I just spontaneously decide to do something and then I'll do it. So planning is not really my forte. Anyways, so for the month of April, I started off reading The Bone Shaker. I had already started this in March and continued it into April. This was one of those meh books. There were parts that were enjoyable and parts that I didn't really like. I almost DNF'd it. I had like 100 pages to go and I almost stopped. It was around here, yes, but after a week I was like, there's only 100 pages left. I'll read it, whatever. And I did, and I'm glad I did. It was interesting. I do have Dreadnought, which is the second book in this series, although it involves a different cast of characters, and I'm curious to read it. Wanted to read it right after this, which is usually what happens. I want to pick it up right away, and I'm much more interested right after I finish, but now that it's kind of been like 3 weeks since I finished this book, I'm not really interested in picking up Dreadnought now. So, I don't know. This probably isn't going to stay on my shelves. I'm probably going to pass it along. The question is if I'm going to read Dreadnought before or after I do that, and if I'm going to pass on Dreadnought before reading it. I don't know. It depends. So yeah. I mean, I wasn't really sure what to expect with this anyway. It's a zombie book, and I'm not a huge fan of zombies, but it's also steampunk, and I do like steampunk. What got me about this book wasn't so much the world, it was, or even really just the zombies, it was the characters. I found them kind of frustrating. A couple of the characters kind of frustrating and aggravating, and the way that the story was told. It jumps between two perspectives, but it also jumps in time. So like, you'll get a section from one character that's like the morning, and then it'll jump to the next character, and that'll be the night before, and then they're just not on the same timeline each section. And I didn't really like that, but it was an interesting idea. Whatever. Anyways, so Bone Shaker was okay. And then I read The Magicians, which was also okay. It was enjoyable. I think I enjoyed this more than I enjoyed Bone Shaker. Yes, definitely. I didn't absolutely love it. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining. Definitely entertaining. Lots of really funny moments. Lots of not funny, heartbreaking moments as well. And the characters are definitely very real in the sense that they're not great characters. They're not these beacons to be looked up to. Definitely not. They make mistakes and do terrible things and make bad decisions. However, I did not finish this prior to that month ending. This was one of the books for my last sleigh video, where I had to read those books within a month or I would have to get rid of them, and I did not. I was a couple days late with this. I wasn't too worried about it because I don't really plan on keeping it, or I didn't really plan on keeping it. Definitely not keeping it now. I do want to read The Magician King, which I do own. I was thinking of just starting it, and I did read a few pages into it, but then I put it down because I wanted to pick up other things. I think if I get rid of this, it won't be a big deal with being able to continue The Magician King. I remember enough from the book, and also because I read the movie, things are just sticking a lot better. Or read the movie because I watched the TV show. Oh my goodness. Because I watched the TV show, things are kind of sticking better in my head. So I think I'll be fine picking up The Magician King if I pass on this. I won't need to look back at anything, depending on how long it takes for me to pick that up though. Yeah. So yeah, two, okay books. Not terrible. Not like new favorites, which is fine. I don't need to read new favorites all the time because then I'll just be overwhelmed by amazing books, which I guess doesn't really sound that bad, but it's not good for my bookshelf. So I don't really mind being able to pass on books. I also started the month reading Dead House Gates. I was probably halfway through it at the beginning of April, and then I finished it. For some reason, I thought that I was going to finish it before the month started, but that was definitely not the case. So I did finish it in April, and it was amazing. That book was awesome. There were points, definitely, when it grated on me. There are parts that grated on me, like jumping between the different plot lines going on, the different characters and character groups. I found aggravating about 60% of the way through. Once I got to like 60%, I just kind of wanted things to just keep going and stopping every time we got to like a tension point and moving on. But I enjoyed that this was so different from the first book. The first book is like, you've got the political intrigue in the city, and there's like the smaller characters that are in the city, and then you've got the war, like the army and their whole politics stuff. Very interesting. But the second book, it's in a desert, and there's this huge rebellion going on, and all of our characters, like the different sets of characters that we jump between, they're all moving, and there's a lot of movement in this book. I feel like everyone was just traveling to get somewhere, and they were in a hurry. I liked how different that tone was from the first book. It's definitely more rushed feeling, a more urgent feeling. I have started the third book, Memories of Ice. I started that a week or two ago, I don't remember. Anyway, I'm like 40% of the way through. And this one also has a different tone from the last one. It's not as crazy action-packed. There's definitely a lot of action going on, but it's a little bit slower. The movement is slower, and there's a lot more information coming our way. A lot of world building definitely is going on. And some things are coming together at the same time. There are some things that I still don't quite know where they fit, but it's interesting. I'm liking it so far. I don't know which one I would say I like the most. I want to say Dead House Gates so far I like the most, but I have such mixed feelings about it. And then I read 3 volumes from The Girl from the Other Side, volumes 8, 9, and 10, the latest ones to come out. This is a series that me and my boyfriend are reading, and we agreed that we weren't going to read 8 until we had several books to read, because each of these books ends with a cliffhanger. All of them, without fail. You can't, it's guaranteed they're going to end with a cliffhanger. So in order to sort of alleviate that frustration, we decided we wanted to read several of the books at once rather than just one at a time. So I really like this series. It's adorable, but also really sad. The little girl is super cute and funny, and I don't know, I really enjoyed this series, and I'm very curious to know how it ends. Book 11 is coming out in November, and that's the final book, and I think what happens in that book is really gonna have a big impact on how I feel about the whole series, and maybe about this author as well. And that's because book 10 took a turn I was not expecting. It was very out there. There's no way you could have seen that coming. Really. How? How could you? I don't know. The turn that it took, I'm not sure how I feel about. Actually, I do know. I did not like it. I did not like the turn. I think depending on what happens in 11, it'll either redeem what happens in book 10, or it's going to go further down that rabbit hole, and I don't think it made sense. Maybe if it makes sense later, or if I look it up and someone explains it and then makes it make sense, then maybe I'll change my mind. This was an enjoyable series, except for this book, and I'm curious to see how it goes. I also read Tombs of Atuan by Ursula Le Guin. This is the second Earthsea book. I read Wizards of Earthsea last year and I enjoyed it. This was a little slower but still enjoyable. I thought it was interesting. Little ideas I thought were interesting. Overall, it was kind of slow and it took a while to get to the parts that I was actually interested in. I can't really get into what I found interesting without getting into spoilers, but I guess it's the sort of lore in it as well as sort of the conflict between the characters. And I have started The Farthest Shore, which is the third book in the Earthsea series, and that one is also kind of slow. But what I find interesting about Le Guin's books is the characters and how they view the world and also how they view the other characters around them, because even though someone may or may not be a certain way, if a character views them that way, then they sort of become it. Like if someone views you as this great person, then you, like, the reader sees them that way, but are they really? I guess is the question. This is the last Earthsea book that I owned. I think there's one more, but I don't know if I'm going to read it anytime soon. I don't own it and I don't think I'm going to be seeking it out. So it's really, if I happen to find it, I'll probably read it. Yeah, so that's how the month of April went for me. I read these two books that were, you know, okay. I read The Girl from the Other Side, which had mixed results by the end. And then these two Earthsea books that were, you know, kind of slow. I haven't finished this one yet, so I'll be continuing that into May. And then I also read Dead House Gates. I finished Dead House Gates and have started Memories of Ice. For my sleigh video, the last sleigh video, I had to finish Bone Shaker and The Magicians before the middle of the month, or else I'd had to get rid of them. I did not finish The Magicians in time. I was a few days late. So I am going to be getting rid of that book. That doesn't bother me much. If it did, I probably would have tried a little harder to read it those last few days, but it was not something that I fell in love with, so I'm okay with giving it up. And I think that that's fine. I have The Magician King and I do want to read it, but I don't think not having The Magicians will hinder me from picking that up again. And I probably will get rid of Bone Shaker at some point as well. Not sure exactly when. It depends on if I pick up Dreadnought anytime soon. Because if I do, then I probably will wait till I finish it. But then if I completely lose interest in the series, then I might not pick up Dreadnought and I might just get rid of both books. So yeah, so that's how April went. I have not done another sleigh video yet. I was going to. I had a bunch of books that I purchased in April, which meant that I was going to have a bunch of books that I would have to roll for and potentially have to read within a month. But what I ended up doing instead is going through a bunch of books and getting rid of books. So I got rid of about as many books as I had purchased. So I decided to just scrap that because I have been in a weird reading mood. Not weird, but like very moody reading mood, I guess. I'm not sure what I want to pick up. I kind of really want to be spontaneous. So I know if I make plans, I'm not going to stick to them. I am going to continue the sleigh videos, just not at this moment. So that means my May TBR is this. It's remote control, which I had on my last TBR, but I didn't get to. I did read a couple pages of it, and I do plan on reading it soon. Probably after I finish that last Ursula Le Guin book. And then Witch Hat Atelier Volume 7. I'm super excited to find out what happens next. I think this is the only other volume that's out right now, though, so that sucks. But I am happy and looking forward to reading that. But yeah, so those are the only two books that I have planned to read. I'm going to finish Memories of Ice as well. I don't know if I'll immediately pick up book 4 or if I'll take a little break and maybe wait to start it. Wait a couple weeks to start the 4th Malazan book. I'm not sure. But yeah. So May, I'm probably going to pick up something random. I don't know what. and I'm kind of excited about it. I'm kind of excited. I know if I picked one right now and I didn't immediately start reading it, I would change my mind within an hour. I can say I do have a plan in June. In June, I plan on rereading Dune. Did you get that? And when I do reread Dune, I plan on doing more thorough video on it, I think. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I want to put in that and what I'm going to try to pay attention to as I'm reading it. I'm definitely going to try and read it slower and take notes and such while I'm reading it of what my thoughts are on it. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I did plan on rereading it at some point, and so now that I'm finally doing it, I'm pretty excited. But that's not till June. We still have to get there. We still have to get through May. That's where I'm at right now. As for videos in the future, I know I'm going to do another Slay video at some point. I'm going to do the Dune reread video, and I'll give you another update at the end of May. As for any reviews in the middle, it'll just depend on what I feel like making spontaneously. But that's just, you know, the mood I'm in right now. Well, thank you for watching. If any of those books sparked your interest, even though I didn't really do a very good job of describing them in an exciting way, let me know. And then for May, what are you planning on reading for May? Maybe that'll help me decide what I want to read. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.